Today I'm going to be showing you how to make basically a version of ramen noodles, but really it's just any sort of noodle soup. I'm going to teach you how to make it so you can have it gluten-free, keep it no fat, or as little as low fat as you can get, and I'll show you a few tasty options. So basically you can make this any vegetables you want. I'm going to use up what we need to in our fridge. Some of this stuff is looking shady, so we're going to chop it up and use it today. Broccoli, mushrooms, and cabbage, carrots, and we got some sprouts that definitely need to go. So we're gonna keep this really simple. I try to eat gluten-free when I can. Wheat is not really my friend, but this gives a really nice type of soup that's more, I don't know, it's sort of like a pho and a ramen. It's kind of like a cross, but it's a sweet potato noodle, so it's gluten-free. It's a Japanese noodle. I can link it on Amazon. I believe they sell them on there if you want them. You can also get them at your local Asian store. They're awesome. They're really, really tasty. And I'm going to use Better Than Bouillon, the vegetable one, the vegetarian. Now this is, I don't think it has much fat because it does say there's almost no fat in here. The problem is it doesn't really, yeah, total fat 0. But it does say soybean oil in this as one of the very last ingredients. So I don't know if it's one of these deals where they cut the serving so little that they can say it's no fat, but it really has a little. But it is at the very end of the thing, so just be aware of that. If you're really that paranoid about fat, just go with bouillon cubes. But this stuff's pretty tasty. I like it. So the way we're going to do this is bring it up to a boil and then put 1 to 2 scoops in here, depending on how big of a batch you're making. But that'll about do it. You don't need much more than that because this stuff's kind of pricey actually. I'm going to add some garlic. So a little scoop of cut garlic. The broth's about ready. Just let it go for about a minute. So I added the garlic, scoop of garlic, and then I'm just going to add the carrots first. And then I'm going to let them go a minute or two and then add the mushrooms because the carrots take the longest. Also, if you have onions, if you're actually using onions, put them in with the carrots usually. Or any sort of root vegetable. Sometimes we do potato. We'll throw in potato or sweet potato. And if it's not cooked, you'll add it at this stage. If it is cooked, like we already have potatoes on the standby all the time, we'll cut these into cubes and add them at the last minute or two. They'll soak up some flavor as they sit, but they're already cooked. Okay, so it's been about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm going to put the mushrooms in now. Put those in next. So we have the garlic and the carrots first. If you had onions, put them in with that. And then we're going to mushrooms next. Next thing I'm going to add is the sweet potato noodles. Now remember, these only need like 5 or 6 minutes to cook usually. And depending on how you do it, sometimes you drain them. A lot of times they'll tell you, take them off, drain them, and cool them to keep the texture. But I'm doing this more like a ramen soup where these noodles are really tough and they'll last a few days in here without getting too mushy and falling apart. Usually though, you want to eat this soup within a day, but you can go as much as 3. Alright, so the cabbage goes in about a minute or 2 after the noodles. So these are one of the last things you'll put in. It'll seem like a lot, but it'll cook down big time. I'm down to the last stages, so I'm just doing, this is all the bean sprouts. So I've been trying to use those up. Basically, this is a good meal to use up all your shady vegetables. Things that are just about to go bad, and these were right on the edge. This is a great way to not waste money and use them. I'm also going to add potatoes at the very last minute. So this is pre-boiled sweet potatoes. It's skinned. And we just drop in some chunks right at the end. So we finished here, but I'm a little low on the broth, so I'll probably add a little more water and heat it back up for a minute or 2. But here's what it looks like coming out. Get an idea that they're like glass noodles, sort of, made of potato, sweet potato. We got sweet potato chunks. It's pretty good. And again, you can substitute, especially if you're gluten-free, you can substitute any sort of rice noodle and this will work just the same. You can use regular ramen and wheat noodles if you don't have an issue with wheat. But remember, ramen noodles are usually super fatty. They're deep fried. So you have to find the ones that are not deep fried. So I got the broth back up to where it needed to be, and you just heat it back up. You can get a better idea what it looks like when it's done. And we put some chopped green onions on it if you can do onions. So check it out, we've got my own ramen bowl. There you go.